Without further ado, why don't we welcome to the line one half of the Wild Samoans WWE Hall of Famer, Sika. How are you doing?
Hey, brother, I'm mad. You go all over the world? This here goes all over the world, man. I can't believe that. That's great, man. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Now, we've got a lot of questions. Some listeners have sent us in some questions, so if you don't mind, let's go ahead and get started.
Yes, sir. Yeah, go ahead, brother. Yes.
Now, of course, growing up in the Samoan family, got to ask you, were you a wrestling fan initially, or were you against it?
I was, before when I first, came in the United States at 14 years old, man, you see, when we came in America, my father was a minister. And that is our way here to end the Lord's job, doing the Lord's job. And I used to watch wrestling in Cow Palace. It freaked me out, and I was one of these guys that come down there and challenge the boys and fight with security and everybody else, create a lot of riot around there in San Francisco and Cow Palace, man, So, we got in the world of wrestling, and I love it, and we become good at it. And the people is what brings me, because we work for the people. And that's, ever since as a young man, my father was a minister, so we work for the Lord, work for the people. And wrestling, it was the thing that, that I learned from as a young person. Yeah.
Now, was wrestling your first career choice? If not, what was?
Well, wrestling was the first one. I was a seaman and a longshoreman, so when I came into wrestling, I was ready. But wrestling is the first. Yeah, I love wrestling. I got friends out there, and I love this business. This is a great business, for all the young people that they failed on what they done in life. They got to jump into wrestling. This is a great thing to do. Mm-hmm.
Now, what influence did the late Peter Maivia have on you getting into the business, if any at all?
It's plenty, because Peter Maivia is our chief. It was a true chief that came from the island that come in the United States at the time during the 60s. In the 70s, when Peter came in, and that time, the San Francisco at the time when we were young, and things were not that good them days, but we needed a hero. I was real bad on the street and that kind of stuff. And when Peter Maivia came in our life, that bring us into the arena, and that bring us and see what is it all about. That being in, making money in the ring instead of out in the street. And so he's our hero. He's our real chief, and I'm very proud of that man. Yeah.
Now, back in the day when you broke into the business, training was a lot different. Can you talk about your training a little bit and how you were broke into the business?
Well, it was hard. I didn't understand that much, and everybody helped me. I remember my brother Alpha came down there at the YMCA and slammed me on the concrete. And then he told me, look, this business, you got to work on them weights. You got to be real. I was real tough anyway from the street, and then, and got in on the wrestling. And I came, I had black eyes, busted lips, and bruises all over my body, going to Arizona and meet some of the boys. We were what you call shooting, I didn't know what shooting meant, but them guys was real rough. And I learned quick. To learn everything, because it's not funny when you come home and your wife cries and your son. My son Matt was just a little boy. And I didn't want to come home that way with the black eye, busted mouth, and bruises all over, chops out, blood bleeding on my chest. So I had to learn quick and find out that this is a rough business, but I like it because it only takes us 10 minutes, 5 minutes in there. It's better than working 8 hours.
Now, you've trained some of the top wrestling personalities. Can you compare the way you were trained to the way you train your students?
I don't have too many students around because my style is different, and I taught them the same way that they taught me on the road, rough, and when I lay them in there and everything. So I only had a few kids that they really put up with me. Was my nephew Tonga Kid and Yokozuna. And just a few of them kids that came to me. But most of the guys, they come through and then they quit. So, I told them that you need to go to the gym and get yourself built up from the gym because it's not what you think it is. And maybe it's easy by watching television, but, when you're in there, 10 minutes is a long time being in the ring. So.
Mm-hmm. Now, what are some of your memories of wrestling for the Stampede Wrestling area?
Stu Harder helps me a lot because a lot of the guys that come from Japan, and also Stu Harder, he's an amateur, and Brad and all them kids. So watching them kids working amateur and shooting in that ring, it helps me a lot, and I learn from them guys too. Same thing, There's nothing easy on that school there. So, but when they're done with you, you're ready. And that's why I love that. I love that family up there. They taught us right, and they taught us in the way like you're supposed to be. You be ready for that road. Mm-hmm.
Now, Sika, can you, of course, your most famous times came as the Wild Samoans. How did you guys come to be managed by the late Captain Albano? And can you share some memories of Lou?
Yeah, Lou came in at that time, I guess the way we are, long hair and crazy looking, and the way it was when they gave us a name, the Wild Samoan. It was the island first because that's what we wanted is call ourselves instead of Anua'i brother. We just wanted to including our people in, and then we went with the island, the Islanders before, and there was a baseball team. So we took the Wild Samoans. So, and we've been carrying that name ever since our career started. And I'm very proud of that name. That is, we're not the only Samoan. We have people and family and friends and fans all over the island. We don't have that big of an island, but it's our home, and I'm proud of it. And I would like, just like I was proud of this other show that came on 16 Minutes, and if there's any millionaires out there that wants if he's got any money, or college or anything like that, I want them to look into my home and send some football equipment so them kids, they can have something to be proud of it. And they're very strong players, and they're tough kids, and they deserve stuff like that.
Now, a lot of guys have said that the Wild Samoans were kind of the beginning of the quote-unquote hardcore wrestling style. What's your response to that?
The hardcore, I think if there's a school that opened up back home, this new style of kicking, boxing, wrestling down there over here today, I would like to see something like that, have a gym back in the island, and we can have a coach from an amateur and coach from wherever it is, kicking punch. There's a lot of young people over there, they for real. They can come on in there and they win, and they fight from their heart and take care of their family, and that's all we are.
shortly into your run in the WWF, both Alpha and you had memories or had matches with Bob Backlund for the WWF title. What are your memories of wrestling Bob?
Bob Backlund is, I would love to have him to be a coach, in the island to help a lot of the young people over there. I learned a lot from watching Pat Backlund and also get the feeling him in that ring that night when I wrestled with him up there. And I lost a tooth over there that night. And it's a person you cannot disrespect Pat Backlund. He's a good champion, and he's for real about his wrestling, and he's a humble person, but, you got to be careful on humble people because they're tough people.
Now, do you have any memories of your time with Andre the Giant? Would you like to share with us?
Yeah, I sure do. That man, that's the most powerful human being that I ever ran in my life, and I tell you what, I don't disrespect that man. God bless him that he's not around, but he's people like me that went in there can see him and do my best to please the people out there, and same as Andre. When Andre slap you, he'll slap you. If he wants to really hurt you, it won't take that much to hurt anybody. That man he's a strong, powerful person, and I respect that man, and he's a kind person, but I don't think you want to mess with it on the other bad side of that person. Yeah.
Now, our next question comes to us from a listener of ours, Jay Samola, who's also in our chat room listening live right now. At one point, the Wild Samoans had a series of matches with Jimmy Snuka and Andre. Now, in those matches, Jimmy Snuka actually stood on Andre's shoulders and splashed on you and did a splash onto you. Do you have any memories of whose idea that was and how that came about?
No, I don't know whose the idea was, but that was a good move on their side because I didn't even know it. I didn't think about that, but it was a good thinking for whoever. I believe it was Andre, the one that probably controlled. Heck, he controlled the match. I mean, there's nothing I can do but just when you look up and there they are. So.
Now, later on in your career, the Wild Samoans, they left the WWF and went to Georgia Championship Wrestling, where you had a series of matches with the Fabulous Freebirds. Do you have any thoughts on wrestling them?
That team there was young. They were a good team. Michael Hayes and I kind of forgot. They were a good team. I wish we had a longer run with them guys because I felt like me and my brother's style compared to them guys is a different. They have a different style. We had a different style too, but. I think that's what the people wanted to see. When we went even in the dorm, I think it was 157,000 or something like that. I'm not. That's what I was told. But yes, there is a good team, and it's too bad that it didn't last that long. But that's a good team, and I love to work with them guys. And they're very stiff workers, which is good.
Now, Sika, we actually have a caller from the 650 who has a question for you. Caller from the 650, you're on the air with Wild Samoan Sika. Go ahead and ask your question.
Hey, guys, it's KZ from Rubber Guard Radio, calling from the Bay Area. When most people mention the Wild Samoans, I think WWF. Not me, I think San Francisco. Can you, Sika, break down basically, growing up and spending quite a bit of time in the San Francisco area, and then you and your brother and fellow Samoans wreaking havoc at the Cow Palace. And thanks for taking my call, JT.
Yeah. That's my home. That's the second home from the island, and we raised up in Hunters Point, and it's rough in that area. And then we move up in Dublin, around that area there, close to Sunnyvale. So, life there during the '60s, is rough life. That was the style them days, and the young people them days is different, and but we were still working people, working generation that we work because we always help our folks, and we take care of our elders and our people, and that was the life that we brought in. But as far as street life, we went through all that, and I love San Francisco. I don't trade San Francisco for any other places. I found where I am today is kind of close, like in the island, but the Bay is my home.
Now, when you came back to the WWF as a singles wrestler, you were managed by King Curtis. What are your memories of him? Great man, great hero. I'm glad you mentioned that. The King Curtis is a type of true island hero, like Peter Maivia. Peter Maivia sings, King Curtis same way. All us island people, he knows they're happy people. And King is one of the best that I ran in Honolulu. I never stayed in Honolulu that long, just a couple hours before we came in the United States. But yes, I'm glad you say that. He's a good man. God bless him. Now, one of the classic moments in wrestling was the Wild Samoans versus Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas, where they won the tag team titles. Being that they were the first African Americans to win a major wrestling tag team title, what are your memories of that monumental moment?
Well, I played that on my manager Lou. God bless his heart, that I never wanted to see him take up without us. But Lou made a mistake there, and I for wind up with the chair. But there's another team there's a lot of teams that came our way that we look at it that we could have go around the world, but as you know, them days we didn't have that chance to go around the world like today is, that the McMahon goes all over the world nowadays. So but. Even in the Road Warrior, there's another team I always like to meet up with them and wrestle them, because when they came in town on the world of wrestling in the South, we were just coming in, building ourselves up, and fought hard in there for our fan and our friend. And that's another team that I wish that we had a chance to run with them, for any belt, So
Now I got to ask you got to wrestle Hulk Hogan in the main event on the 1987 edition of Saturday Night's Main Event. What are your memories of that match?
It was a good match. I did my job. I did my work, and Hulk Hogan, well, he is a man. He is a giant them days. So I have to do what I have to do. But he's a strong person. He take care of himself. And he is truly the people's fan. People likes him, and they did hold him right up where he's supposed to be at. And they hold us where they want us to be. But Terry is a good wrestler. Yes.
Okay. Now you also, this is another question that comes from Jason Mola in the chat room. You also briefly teamed with Kamala. Do you have any memories of that time?
Kamala. My brother Kamala. Yes. Yeah, I was very proud to team up with Kamala in that little time that we was in the WWE them days. He's a good man, great wrestler, a kind person, and he's just like the rest of us that we're good, but leave the other side alone. But we're good people. I like Kamala. He's a good person, and God bless him.
Okay, now, can you talk briefly about the late Rodney Anawai, better known to fans as Yokozuna?
Yeah, Rodney's my nephew. I love that man, and Rodney came to me, want to change his life, and Rodney was one of the few kids that put up with the way that I teach. And it was painful to him, but it was a good thing. Good. When I finished with Ronnie was ready. He was ready to wrestle anyone, go anywhere, and handle himself like a man, and they put him right up there where he was, and sent him to Japan and got more beating over there, and came back in the WWE. He was ready to take care of business.
Okay, now we actually have a question from our chat room from a listener who goes by the name of Marksy, and he wants to know if you have any advice for young guys trying to break into the business today.
Yes, yeah, I advise them young person to stay away from anything that hurts your body. Go to the gym and build your body up and work hard at it, and you can see yourself, you're ready, and then do your homework to study who is being in the wrestling, what's their background, and then you go. Don't just because somebody's in there wrestling for 1 month and you like them, and then no, you need to go do your homework to study. And there's a lot of family amateur background and guys that's been in the business a long time and their families in there. Those are the people that I think you need to get in there, and they will help you.
Now, we also had another question. He just wanted to know if you had any thoughts on John Rambo from NWO in Hagerstown, Maryland. Are you familiar with him?
John who? Rambo.
John Rambo from the NWO in Hagerstown, Maryland.
I don't. These are young people, though. I don't think Is he with the WE?
No, I think he's an independent worker right now. JT's telling me he was an enhancement talent once upon a time in the WWF.
Well, great. You know, if he made it up there, that it is good. I think they take a lot of young, good kids nowadays, and respectable kids, and
Okay. Now we actually have a caller on the line, so caller, go ahead.
It's Canadian Mad Max from Canada. Just wondering, Sika, what's some memories you have of wrestling in Stampede Wrestling in Calgary?
Well, it's too hard, and his boys and his kids are amateur background. That family's real good on that amateur background there. And there's and like I said, guys from Japan comes over there, and these are young people. They come in there, and they're good amateur too. So there's a lot of amateur people coming too. the Stewart family. And that's where we pick our stuff up.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you for calling, sir.
Okay, bro.
Now, Sika, going back to to what we were talking about a few minutes ago with Dwayne Johnson, Rocky Johnson, and Tony Atlas. Jay Samoa actually wanted to ask you a question, and it was that a lot of stories told a lot of dissension between those two. And he wanted to know if you knew if it was like an ego thing that broke them up, just being that you are close to Rocky Johnson, being in the family and things like that.
No, I don't. I don't really know what's going on as far as the team. I don't even think the team was broken up. I think I left before that happened. No, we don't get involved in that kind of stuff. I don't even know. I didn't even know they're broken up.
Okay, now wrestling is pretty much your family business. How did what was the atmosphere there once The Rock left wrestling and went into the Hollywood movie making business?
I'm proud. Mission complete. This is a kid that came in. He came a hard way. He didn't just Rocky didn't just a cold spoon just handed to him. No, he's not. All these kids, they come in, they work hard, and they get beat down, and they get in there. Rocky knew where he was going, knew where he was coming from, and he worked hard for his life and his dream, and he came through, and that's not act to me. That's all shoot to me, the way Rocky is, and that's real. That's not no any fake about that kid's life. All these kids that came in my family, man, we don't have nothing, but our work is just all we have, and our talents.
Okay, now, do you have any memories of the late Eddie Fatu that you'd like to share with our audience, who was known to fans as Umaga?
There's another one. There's another talent that came in our life, and I knew that kid was going to be good in wrestling because I went back in the island. He didn't do that well back there because he was born here. And so work your way down to Florida, and then we'll put you in the ring and see how tough you are. And he did. It took him 4 years to make it to Pensacola, Florida, but he did. And we went on in there, worked with him, and he was just a natural, strong kid that had no fear. And that's the way he was. He loved people. He likes to work in front of people. Eki will hurt himself just to make sure that you go home happy. All of us operate like that. We don't mind cripple ourselves just to make somebody laugh or make somebody happy and make us feel like that our job is done right. And that's all these kids are like that.
Okay, now in the early part of the 90s, the Head Shrinkers came into the WWF, and a lot of fans had seen them as the Samoan SWAT team prior to that. They were kind of looked at as like the next generation of the Wild Samoans, and they were managed by Alpha. Was there a reason that you weren't part of that?
Yes, there was a changing of our family generation coming in that time. I was back home in the island. My mom and my passed away. We had to take my mom back home, and I've been hanging around at home for a couple of years and just be around my family back home, and I missed out on the whole pictures up here, but my brother went on and continued putting my young people together, and after my injury, I came back. Mm-hmm.
Now, when you got the call from WWE saying they wanted to induct you into the Hall of Fame. What was your initial thoughts on that?
I didn't think of any, I thought, you see, I don't really, I didn't really know how important the Hall of Fame was, I didn't know if it was something like, when you graduate from high school, but I didn't pay that much mind into it. I take it like, well, it's just another night that, we had to go up there. And that's when my brother told me, this is important. In the English world, Hall of Famer it's like it's the top of what we done, and now they crown us for. So it slowly hit me, and then the more people talk to me, congratulations, and it makes me feel good, and I'm very proud of that now I'm very proud of that, and I can see that crown is helping me a lot to recognize me more in front of a lot of people and a lot of fans, and without the fan and friends, I don't think that anything would happen, but yes, it is today when this young man Mike helped me to get on this air. I don't know about computer. I'm from the old school, and I don't want to challenge new things happening in the world because I don't understand it. And this what brings me here today to you. So I'm very happy and proud that I get a chance to talk to my friend and my fan and my people, and I be able to say something to the world that where I came from, that there's a need there. When I was a young man, that's all I see is coming to the big island, to the big land where everything is, and I would like to see some millionaire help my family and my people and my older people and disabled people in the island, and Western Samoa and American Samoa.
Now, I'm actually glad you brought that up because that was actually going to be my next question. Now, you and I have had these conversations about how you want to do charity work for the Isle of Samoa and try and help bring awareness to the poverty going on over there. Would you like to talk about that a little bit more?
Yes, I sure do. Yeah, as time goes on in my life, I've done everything that in what it needs to be done in my life. Now I'm getting old, and I'm still be able to help my people, which is the Wild Samoan name is my people's name, and I felt like it's time for us, if we can, any organization that will help out to take care of our people back home and here. I would like if there's an organization that they want to raise money for. I'm sure there's a lot of friends of mine, wrestlers, that we can probably show up and help them to raise some money for my young people back home in the island and our old people. Yeah, that would be great. That would be something that is I don't know how to say it, but if it's something like that happen, that would be God bless. Yeah.
Now, Sika, your brother also runs the Wild Samoan Training Academy, who's trained a lot of stars over the years, probably most notably in recent years, Batista. Is there a chance we could see you teaching students at a school down the line, or have you ever thought of starting your own school?
Well, I would like to. I got a 16 by 16. To me, 16 by 16 that teaches quickness, timing, and respect on a 16-foot ring, 16 by 16. I don't have a gym, and I don't have no money to rent a building or something like that, But I can help to run a show, or if there's any organization that needs to. I would love to train. I train Yokozuna in my backyard, and
I think I start that backyard stuff. So that's my problem. Yeah, I don't have a gym.
Okay. Well, hopefully you'll be able to get that going down the line.
I hope so. Yeah.
Now, can you talk a little? You have a son, Joe, who's currently in WWE developmental, and I know as a football fan, he played football for a few years. Can you talk a little bit about him and what he's doing down there?
Oh, how do you want to say that? I want the world to see him up there when the company's ready for him. But yes, I love my son, and he loves his football, and he decided to get in on the world of wrestling. And I say there's no other company around that best for you to go to is Vince school. So that's where he's at now, and he's gonna learn a lot from there. You got good coach down there, and Tom Pritchard, he's a good coach, and a lot of the guys that are helping him are good coach. So he'll learn better than kicking and punching like we did, but he'll learn the whole package.
Now, actually, recently there was another family member who made it up to WWE, Alpha Anoa'i Jr., who the fans might know a little bit better as Manu. But he didn't really last very long. It seems like he just got sent down. Maybe he came up a little too early. Can you talk a little bit about him?
Well, Alpha, Alpha stepped in the ring when he was about 6, 7 years old, and he learned the ring as a young man. He came in quick. He learned quick, and he did win places. He's just, I don't know, as far as wrestling goes, yeah, he had the skill. He had the know-how. He knows what to do in that ring. Maybe there's time for everybody, I guess. So maybe when he's still a young man, maybe one day, I really like to see him and Alpha's son and my son kind of see if they can take the Wild Samoan name, continue to help the Samoan people, But I don't know.
Definitely. Now, do you have like a rib or a road story from your days that you'd like to share with our listeners?
That what?
I said, do you have like a rib or a road story from your days on the road that you'd like to share with our listeners?
No, I don't have no rip. The guy that do the ripping is Sousa and Fuji. I don't know how to do that stuff.
Okay. Now, do you have any? We were talking a few minutes about all the charity work that you're doing, everything that you're working on there. Do you have anything you'd like to plug, or how can fans donate to some of these charities that you're working with?
I don't know. I don't. I'm looking for to help somebody, and somebody will. I don't know. Like I said, this is a good chance for me to tell the world out there that that my people need some help, and maybe this after this talking, maybe somebody will send an address or a phone number or something. Or some church or any Samoan community, wherever it is that. I just want to help my people out and disabled people and all that.
Okay, well, if you do find an address or any ways later, just let us know, and we'll make sure to let our listeners know about that. But I'd like to thank you for coming on today, Sika. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the fans?
Yes, I want to thank you for all the fans in the world that support me and my brother and my family. God bless all of you and my friend and fan and all the family in the world. Just thank you so much for the good time that you all show us and support us the day that we was in your living room. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Sika.
Thank you so much for having me, brother. God bless you guys. Thank you a lot.
You as well.